What is up, people? Welcome back. Here we are right at the end of 2015. It is only a few days away from January 1st, the beginning of 2016. And last time I, of course, made my list of my 10 favorite games for 2015, which was super hard to do. So many really excellent games to pick from this last year. 2015 was fantastic. Even with a slow year from Nintendo, there was still so many great games to play across the board this last year, and it's just one of the best problems you can have. So now that that's out of the way, and, you know, being just a couple of days away from January 1st, the next thing we, of course, get to do is get excited for the games that we know are going to blow our minds for the next year, for upcoming 2016. So many exciting things to think about and get excited for. We know the NX is going to be shown. Is Nintendo's next generation machine also going to be released next year? We have no idea. So I, of course, wanted to put together the 10 games that I am the most excited for next year. So 3 quick points that I want to bring up before I actually get into the list of my 10 most anticipated games. Most importantly, I'm only picking games that we have actually seen true confirmed gameplay of. I think that that's incredibly important because, you know, there are a lot of games where we see just, I don't know, CG-related trailers or concept art and things like that. And although we may know that those games are going to be very exciting to us, it's not the same as actually seeing what the game is going to be like and what it's going to offer. So I wanted to include games like ReCore or Mass Effect 4, but these are games that, again, we've either seen only CG trailers of or even almost nothing. In the case of Mass Effect 4, we literally saw nothing. We saw Shepard or somebody, I think, just looking out of a window, and then they turn around and walk towards the camera, and that's all that they've shown us. So without any real gameplay, I didn't feel comfortable including a lot of games that would otherwise be very exciting. Also, Twilight Princess HD is a unique case of a game that I am massively excited for. I know it's a little bit controversial. Some people feel like visually the game isn't, you know, as good as it could or should be, and that's whatever to me. For me, I just can't wait for that game. Twilight Princess would be on this list as one of my 10 most anticipated games, but I'm not including it because it is only an HD remaster, and I only want to include brand new games and sequels and stuff like that. I don't want to include any remasters, so Twilight Princess does not make this list for that reason. Also, Pikmin 4 is a unique case of a game that is very likely to come out next year, but it hasn't been confirmed. So, were we to know that Pikmin 4 was going to come out this year and maybe even have seen gameplay, it's a game that I also would have easily included as my top 10 most anticipated games, but we haven't seen any gameplay, and we don't know for sure that it's supposed to be a 2016 release, regardless of which platform it may end up on. We don't know enough about it, so it's another game that I'm not included, even though it has been officially announced and confirmed to be in development and very close to completion and close to release. It doesn't make the cut because we don't know anything else about it. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to kind of touch base and run by you guys before actually getting to my list. But with that stuff out of the way, we can get to the goods, and we're going to start off with my 10th most anticipated game for 2016. Okay, first game on this list is going to be The Last Guardian. And man, The Last Guardian is one of those crazy titles where we thought it was going to be gone forever. I said so many times, I even made 2 videos about it since starting Rule of 2 Review as a YouTube channel, discussing how that game is dead. Sony's been lying to us. They've been dangling the carrot in front of our faces for years. I thought for sure that this game was dead and we were never going to see it. And sure as shit, they proved me wrong at this last E3, where they actually opened the show with The Last Guardian. Now, it's a little bit tricky because they haven't shown us anything new. They only showed us like the exact same 6-minute demo or whatever happened, you know, several years ago, the last time we actually saw that game on stage, which I want to say was 2011 or so. They basically just showed the same thing, and that's too bad. We don't know anything else about it. It's set for 2016, but it may get delayed. So it's a very weird mystery, The Last Guardian, but it's a game that I wanted to be so excited for when it was first shown. I loved what Team Ico has done previously with its other games. I think The Last Guardian could be, when you remove all the controversy and the hype and the this and that and the other, I think it could be an absolute masterpiece of a game, and that is most important to me. I still believe in what the game could be, regardless of how long it's taken, regardless of what it looks like, and all the hype and the drama surrounding the game. I just don't care. I think it could be great. So, assuming it sticks to a 2016 release date, I am massively excited for The Last Guardian still, so it makes my number 10 game. Okay, number 9 is an exciting one because I don't get to talk about this series very often. It is going to be Fire Emblem Fates for the 3DS, which is set for like the first quarter, I think, of the year, pretty soon into the year. And Fire Emblem's a great series. I don't talk about it much. I don't get super invested in it like I do in a lot of Nintendo's other series and their first-party stuff, but it's a seriously amazing world that they've created with Fire Emblem. The characters are so well-rounded. The combat is so intricate and interesting. It's fantastic. Great, great stuff happening with Fire Emblem. What's cool about Fire Emblem Fates is how they have 2 different retail release games coming out, and I don't remember the different names, like Fire Emblem Fates something and Fire Emblem Fates something else. They're going to be coming out at the same time, and they're going to be telling 2 different perspectives on the same battle, the same war that's happening. It's very reminiscent of the Clint Eastwood films, which was, I think, For My Fathers and Sons from Iwo Jima, and oh my god, I know I'm messing those up, but they were around 2005, basically 2 films made, one in English, one in Japanese, and they were discussing, they were basically 2 sides of that war that happened. It was a really cool idea for a film. God, Sons of Iwo Jima, is that what it's called? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's the same idea as what it seems like they're doing with Fire Emblem Fates, where there's a battle that's happening, and we're going to see 2 different sides, and there's even a DLC to add a 3rd perspective down the road later. Really cool stuff. It's an expensive investment, but it is 2.5 full-fledged games, and because it's Fire Emblem, and we know it's going to be so great, wonderful combat, stories, execution, characters, I just don't care. It's going to be totally worth it for the $80 it costs to buy into the whole full package of all 3 game experiences. Fire Emblem is awesome. Fire Emblem Fates could be one of the best games of the year, so it makes my number 9 game for 2016. Okay, number 8 is Quantum Break for the Xbox One. Haven't talked about it once on the channel, but I really am pumped for this game. Coming from the guys at Remedy who made Alan Wake and the sequel DLC American Nightmare, I think it was called, which was also awesome. Alan Wake was great. Those guys really know how to make a good game. The concept for Quantum Break is really interesting. It's not the first time that someone's done this, but it is the first time in a couple of years that a team has tried to take a game and also kind of make it coincide with a live-action television show. So we don't really know a lot of details on how that's going to work specifically with Quantum Break. It's neat that they're doing it, but what I trust is that even if you don't get into the show and buy into what's happening with that story, I'm willing to bet the game in and of itself will still be excellent. I love the idea of being sort of like a detective with this sort of time freezing mechanic, and I think you can even rewind time too. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can. Regardless, it's just a really cool seeming idea. It's got Shawn Ashmore from the X-Men film series who's voicing the main character. I think that it's a really cool looking idea. It's an exclusive title for the Xbox One. You know me in exclusive games. They always get me excited. Actually, I'm looking at my list, and I think all but 2 of these games are exclusive. So good for me. That's exactly how a list like this should be made. So yeah, I think Quantum Break is going to be a really good game. It's the kind of game that the Xbox One needs, a pretty high-profile exclusive game that looks like it's going to do hopefully a couple of new things. It's a brand new IP, you know, it's not a sequel or anything, it's not an adaptation. I think it could be fantastic, so Quantum Break looks great. That's my number 8 game for 2016. Okay, number 7 is a huge one for me. It was actually hard for me to include it so low on this list, but nonetheless, it does make my top 10, and that is Gears of War 4. For the Xbox One, because I goddamn love Gears of War. It's one of those simple, visceral pleasures. Gears of War is a bunch of blood, a bunch of shooting, a bunch of monsters, and just kill everything in your path with great gameplay and amazing visuals. And Gears of War 4 has been a long time coming. A lot of folks didn't feel that satisfied with Gears of War Judgment on the Xbox 360. I really like Gears of War Judgment. It's a great Gears of War game. It's the 4th best of the existing 4 games, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. I really enjoyed that. And I think Gears of War 4 could be the next step. You know, I've been going through the Gears of War remaster that they released a couple months ago on the Xbox One. They did a great job with that. It reminded me why Gears of War is still one of my all-time favorite shooter series. And to finally have a next-generation Xbox One exclusive Gears of War sequel, I just can't wait, you know? If they're going to continue the story, I don't know. You know, it seems like there's no reason to have Marcus Phoenix back, but I'd love to have Phoenix and Baird and Coltrane back. Of course, we know Dom can't come back, spoiler alert. But I think that there's a really cool thing happening with Gears of War 4, and I'm super excited. I just love Gears of War. It's totally the kind of series for me. It's simple. You turn your mind off, and you just shoot the shit out of everything in your way, and it's great for that. So Gears of War 4, super duper, mega pumped, mega hyped. Cannot wait. My number 7 game for 2016. Okay, number 6 is a really big one. I think a lot of the fans and followers of Rule of 2 Review will agree with this, and that is Scalebound, also for the Xbox One exclusive, the brand new game from Platinum Games. You know, everyone's favorite developer in the world. They're one of my favorites. They've killed it with pretty much every title that they've made so far. I don't think they've made a bad game, at least that I know of. And I think Scalebound looks to be the same kind of thing. We finally saw, I think it was at TGS. TGS or Gamescom? Maybe it was Gamescom. A couple months ago, they finally showed us some gameplay. It's this weird hybrid where you're like this guy who seems like he's like modern or from the future. He's wearing like a leather jacket and listening to headphones. Yet he's also running around this medieval world using these crazy moves and this big sword to fight demons and enemies. And he's also controlling a huge dragon on the battlefield. It's a crazy idea. It's got some sort of co-op thing that kind of makes it look a little bit like Monster Hunter. We don't know a whole lot of details on any of this stuff yet. We've only seen like 10 minutes ever of gameplay. So it's really tough to know the full context of everything happening. But just the simple, you know, basic idea of what's happening, the concept itself, combined with the fact that it's Platinum Games making this game, and then also because it is an exclusive games, and like you've heard me say, I think exclusive games are typically of the higher quality. I think it's going to be amazing. So Platinum Games making any brand new game for any platform gets me super excited. Scalebound looks super fantastic, and it is my number 6 game for 2016. Okay, halfway through, number 5, huge one for me, Dark Souls 3. One of the few multi-platform games on this list. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's Dark Souls. It's from Software. You heard me rave about Bloodborne on my last video. You know that I love those guys, and I love what they're doing with this, with their kind of this sort of game that they make, and like the Dark Souls, Bloodborne sort of universe. And I think Dark Souls 3 just looks fantastic. Visually, it is the best thing they've done yet. To see them actually make another game built for this current generation from the ground up, which they did with Bloodborne also, it just looks great. And Dark Souls 3 looks visually even better than Bloodborne. Whether or not it's going to be a better game than Bloodborne, I don't quite know. I like Bloodborne much more than all of the Dark Souls and Demon Souls stuff before it, even though those games are great. But because they're coming off of Bloodborne, I'm really hoping to see a Dark Souls world and universe where they've learned a lot from what they did with Bloodborne, and they kind of combine some of the best elements of Bloodborne with what traditionally and typically makes a Dark Souls game good. And there are some very subtle differences between Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and gamers out there who've actually played both series will understand what those differences are. So I'm hoping that we're taking the best of both worlds and putting them together for Dark Souls 3. The setting looks different. It looks, funnily enough, darker than any of the previous settings. Very excited to know what's going to go on there. Just to have a new game from Software already. This is the 3rd year in a row where they've released a new title. It's insane what these guys are doing, and their games are not half-assed. They are AAA of the highest possible order. So very excited for what's going on here. More from Software titles are always great. Dark Souls 3, number 5 game so far for 2016. All right, number 4 is very conveniently titled. That is Doom 4 at number 4. And I guess that's not really being called Doom 4. I think it's just being called Doom right now, which would be kind of stupid in my opinion. Just call it Doom 4, but we'll see what happens. Title doesn't matter. It's Doom. This game, going into E3 this last year, I talked about this when I reviewed the show as well. It was definitely a game I was massively excited to finally see. I had heard great things from all the behind closed doors and the BlizzCon stuff that had been showed that was never released to the public. Very, very excited for what was going to be happening there. And then when they actually showed it, it was 10 times better than my already very high expectations. I cannot be more shocked and pumped for what they're doing with Doom. It's way more fast-paced than I expected. I hope that it still has like a Doom-esque feel, more than just having a bunch of demons and monsters. I hope that there's a couple of other small little things they do to make it feel like the older Dooms. But when you look at how Doom 3 played out, which actually was very different but still awesome, if they're just building on that, which it does look like that's what they're doing, it's going to be amazing. I've got nothing but high hopes. It is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. The demo that they showed at E3, I don't really believe, not visually, but in the sense that it was, I think that it was very much put together so that you ran into enemy after enemy after enemy after enemy, and they put the right weapons in the right places to be able to kind of showcase some of the gorier finishing moves and just make it look as awesome and brutal as possible. And I'm hoping that there's much more pacing to the game once it finally releases than that just non-stop chaos. I expect it to be that way. Regardless, even if it's not, that chaos still looked pretty fantastic, man. So I don't think there's much they could do with Doom at this point that would make me not excited for this game. It just has blown my balls off what we've seen. I think it's probably Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, I would assume, coming out for this next year. It is a multi-platform. Oh my god, Doom 4 looks so freaking good. I cannot wait, and it's my 4th most anticipated game for the year. Okay, number 3 is the mighty return of Nathan Drake, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End? Is that what it's called? I don't even know what the subtitle is. That doesn't matter to me. Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake is back, Sully is back. Unfortunately, some other side characters who I don't like are going to be back, but I did see one side character that I love that should be back as well, so a lot going on there. I love Uncharted, you guys. It's really, when I look back at Uncharted 2, that is one of the best games ever made. Beyond being one of my favorite games, if you were to just make a category of what it takes to make a great game and a great presentation and what makes a game like groundbreaking, Uncharted 2, would probably be the top 3 or 5 games ever. It is that good to me. It still stands the testament of time. Absolute masterpiece, and even the games around it are still wonderful. I am so excited for Uncharted to come back. You know, brand new on the PlayStation 4 hardware. Naughty Dog is one of the top 3 developers in the entire industry, in my opinion. You know, The Last of Us is like probably my 2nd favorite game of all time, and I think that what they could be doing with Uncharted 4 might even be better, just because Nathan Drake is such an amazing character. We cannot undersell how wonderful his character and Nolan North's performance of him sells these games and makes them work and makes the character believable. It's the perfect mix of graphics and gameplay and story. It's literally the perfect combination of Doom. I mean, almost nothing can stand up against a perfectly executed Naughty Dog Uncharted game. And Uncharted 4 looks absolutely brilliant. Now, I said this before, at E3, they closed with the demo where they're driving down the streets, and we all know the whole thing at the very beginning where Nathan Drake was standing there and they had a hiccup. That, you know, where the game they had to reset the game. I said this before, and I'm just going to say it one more time. I absolutely do not believe that that was complete BS. I think that was staged. I think it was part of a pre-recorded roll of that footage. I don't believe anyone was playing that footage live on stage, just like with most E3 demos. Nintendo, I think, when they do live stuff, they're absolutely doing it live. They're one of the only companies that I truly believe. I don't think that that's what was happening with Uncharted 4, so I just want to stake my claim officially and remind everyone that I think was fake. I think they wanted to make people feel and believe like it was real in live gameplay, and I don't buy it for 1 second, Naughty Dog or Sony, but that's okay. That doesn't matter because the game is still going to be absolutely phenomenal. Cannot wait. Uncharted 4 barely squeaking out of the top 2, falling at number 3. All right. Last 2 most anticipated games for the year. It's always exciting to get to the top 2 and 3 games of any list. Number 2 is going to be, probably no big surprise, Star Fox Zero, because I love Star Fox. I got to have another great kick-ass Wii U Nintendo game on this list. Star Fox is one of my favorite series of all time. I think when the series has truly hit its stride, it is just the perfect execution of gameplay and world building. I even like Star Fox Adventures. I think it's great. Star Fox Temperatures. I love Star Fox Adventures, and I think Star Fox Zero could be wonderful. Platinum Games is working on this with Nintendo. We know what kind of deadly combination that can be. A little bit controversial, maybe wasn't living up to people's expectations with its E3 reveal, and I totally get it. Visually, it wasn't even what I was expecting. I still was going to believe in the game because I believe in Star Fox. I believe in Miyamoto and Nintendo. I believe in the gamepad. I think that they're making a great game. I believe in Platinum Games. But, you know, there still was justified reasons to have concern about that game. You know, but then when we have last month's Nintendo Direct where they showed off new footage and a new trailer, holy crap, that made all the difference to me. The game looks like it has tripled in quality since its initial reveal. Personally, that's how I see it. We got the confirmed release date of April 22nd. It's like got 4 or 5 months still in the cooker, so it seems both very soon, but also far away enough for them to continue to make vast improvements on this game. It's Star Fox, you guys. Nintendo will not fuck up the mighty return of the one and only Star Fox. This game is going to be a AAA force to be reckoned with. I fully believe it. We're probably not going to get the online stuff that we all want and deserve. That is the one thing that is really too bad about that game. But I've talked about this before too. I don't really need that to make Star Fox Zero a great game or to make it exciting for me. I want that, but I don't need it. I just need a great Star Fox campaign with amazing mechanics, great visuals, wonderful story, the quirky voice acting, and awesome gamepad utilization, which they are obviously working very hard to make right. I got nothing but faith in Star Fox Zero, you guys. I cannot wait. One of my favorite series and my second most anticipated game for 2016. All right, here we go. The #1 game. Do I even have to say what it is? Of course I don't, but I'm going to say it anyway. It is The Legend of Zelda for the Wii U. So, lots been going on with Zelda for the Wii U since it was first revealed last year at E3, 2014. It's looked great every single time we've seen it. You know, we saw it at E3, we saw it at the Game Awards, we saw just, we didn't see it at E3 this year, but then we saw a small taste at the Nintendo Direct last month. It's looked fantastic every time. It's only looked better and better. It is gorgeous. It's this wonderful new vision of the Zelda universe and of Link, but we don't know anything else about it. The game is shrouded in mystery. We weren't even sure, with the delay from this year to next year, we weren't even sure if the game was going to stay on the Wii U. Is it going to move entirely to the Nintendo NX, which we know is going to be shown and talked about very soon. Luckily, just a few months ago, they finally confirmed, hey, the one thing we can tell you for sure about Zelda is it will absolutely still be a Wii U release. It will be released in 2016. At this point, I believe it, after the one delay, I believe the 2016 release date. I don't think it's going to move a second time into 2017, and I believe them when they say this will be a Wii U game. Now, does that mean it's going to be a Wii U only game? I'm not so sure. I still think we might see an NX release of this game in some fashion. But that doesn't change the fact that this is still getting released on the platform it's been promised. It's been living up to expectations every time we've seen it. We don't know the story. We don't know the characters. We don't know the title of the game. We just know it as Legend of Zelda. Basically just Zelda Wii U. That's all we know. So there's a lot for us to still get. So it's still shrouded in the in the typical Zelda mystery for this huge period of time before they finally pull back the veil and really share details about it. I think we might get some more info and an early Nintendo Direct early in the year, but I think at E3 they're finally going to just completely pull all the covers off and say, here is officially all the info you need to know about the new Zelda, the title, the context, the story, the size of the world, the release date. We're finally going to get the release date. All these things I think are going to come at E3. Maybe sooner, probably at E3. So I don't know, man. It's The Legend of Zelda. It's my second favorite gaming series of all time. Every Zelda game is fantastic. Even the less great ones are still better than 90% of the other games out there. Nintendo knows how to do it right. Zelda is the other ultimate force to be reckoned with as far as games on this list. And, I mean, the hype is just massive. This game is going to be a big deal. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to kick ass like all Zelda games before it. And I simply can't wait. So without question, it may not be a surprise, but there is no doubt that The Legend of Zelda for the Wii U is my most anticipated game for 2016. Okay, there you go. Another list down in the books. 2016 is an amazing looking game coming up for next year. So much to be excited for, you guys. A lot of other games I couldn't talk about, you know, like I said, Mass Effect and ReCore, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy 15, No Man's Sky, The Division, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, Street Fighter V, lots of other games to be talking about, and who knows however many I forgot about or didn't even talk about. Those are all the ones that jump to my mind. So 2015 has been a great year, and 2016 looks like to be another great follow-up year. We also know we're going to get new hardware from Nintendo, so that's a whole nother level of excitement that we can think about it and just be pumped for when it comes to 2016. So my next list video in the next couple of days is going to also be my 10 favorite movies for 2015. I don't do enough movie-related videos, unfortunately, on Rule of Two Review, which I always have wanted to, but it's just kind of hard to get to that stuff. I just get excited about talking about gaming. But, you know, I love movies just as much and sometimes even more so than the gaming hobby. So there's a lot to do there. 2015 was an amazing year for movies. The mighty return of Star Wars happened, the most important thing. So I'm going to put kind of a unique spin or twist on my movie video, but look for that in the next couple of days. My 10 favorite films of 2015. That'll be very exciting. But as far as this stuff goes, that's it. This has been my list for my most anticipated games for 2016. Definitely share your thoughts both on my list and also your thoughts on the games you are most excited for down below. Obviously, you're not going to agree with every game on my list. You're not going to be excited for the same things that I'm excited for, and you may be excited for things that I'm not excited for. That's just how these things happen. But at the end of the day, it's just a great feeling to talk about things that we know are going to be fun to play in the upcoming year. So, you know, share your thoughts below. Share the games you're excited for below. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.